That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, that don't sound right, send us a comment. You're one of us.
We could use some help in the marketing department.
If anybody wants to help market this.
We're barely podcasters.
That's true. We're barely podcasters.
I think the term is rank amateur. Is that what you call it?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And then
Hey, this is Christy. Welcome to That Don't Sound Right. This is the 53rd episode. Take it away, guys.
Take it away, guys?
Take it away.
53, though. That's pretty... that don't sound right.
That don't sound right.
So, my wife and I, we were just talking about this. We're trying to recall why we did this.
Why we got started?
Yeah, I mean, who was it who had the bright idea and said, y'all should do a podcast? Or maybe someone said, we should just record these conversations. Do you remember, was it Christy who did that?
I don't know.
I feel like it was Christy.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll give her credit.
So we'll give her some kudos at the end.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
We're going to do some kudos at the end.
I do think we were sitting out in what is the exterior recording porch.
Right.
And that's where we initially said this.
Well, remember, we were meeting during COVID, so we were always meeting outside.
We were always on the exterior.
It was always outside. Your propane heater was at full blast.
Yep.
We were bundled up with electric blankets.
Yes.
And we were talking.
Yes. And we would talk sometimes after the fact.
And yeah, we just kept going.
Yeah. We've had some adventures since the last recording at West Salem Public House, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, another thanks to Cody, who couldn't be with us.
Yes.
He was not feeling so well that day, so it was... sorry he wasn't there, but thanks to Cody, one of the managers there that helped set that up for us.
Yeah. It was fun to meet him.
Yeah, it was. And I think, Cody, hopefully you're listening to this particular episode because just our brief conversation, getting to know you a little bit more, I think you're going to be very interested in what we're talking about. In fact,
that's true.
You may even know more about this than we do. I hope so.
So you and I have traveled together recently. We were up in Black Mountain for a few days where there were multiple bear sightings by everyone except for you and me.
Yeah, I have that way with wildlife.
You've told me that.
I have that I would be backpacking with a bunch of people. Oh, did you see that animal?
Yeah.
Or did you see that snake?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see anything.
Well, supposedly there was a bear in a tree shaking the tree.
Right. I saw the aftermath of the bear dumping over a trash can.
I saw some bear-like activity.
Right.
I did not see a bear.
But I never saw the bear.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to call that the question.
No. It would have been fun to see a bear.
It was a bear-rich environment.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Just due to the stories that we have told about bears, it would have been fun to have yet another bear story.
Right, but it's probably worth it then for our listeners, so we don't have to add to the bear series. Bear sighting series of our podcast. Well, but anyway, it's the 53rd, so we're starting 53rd. Into the second full year of running this.
Yes.
We've haven't really missed a beat. You've been on every single one of them.
Yes.
I missed the first 11 and then one in the middle.
Well, that's because I started trying it out. I didn't know how to podcast.
Right.
And so before we really started this in earnest, at night I would just sit here with the girls trying to figure out how to do it. And the next thing you knew, we had 10 episodes.
That's good.
So you and I probably started in earnest about the 11th or 12th episode.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A weird thing happened this week.
Yeah.
And that is our Canadian listenership shot up.
That's awesome. Wait.
It is.
I don't know. How many Canadians do you know?
I don't. Well, I know one. I know one person that listens to us in Canada.
All right.
But this is not explained by just one Canadian listener. So everybody in Canada that's listening, thank you.
Yeah, we really thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've only been to Canada a couple times.
Really? Yeah. I've never been.
Have you not? Yeah, I've gone up there for really canoe trips.
Oh,
up
really?
In the Algonquin Provincial Park.
I didn't know if you're doing like the border lakes or anything. So you were all the way up in Canada.
I was all the way up in there. And then there was one time I was in the border lakes. I forgot what that region is called. It's not the Land O'Lakes or not the Thousand Lake region, but it's another one up in Minnesota.
Yeah. So usually the Boy Scouts will go up there and they have a 7-day canoeing trip in that border region.
Yeah, but it's a great place. And I guess I've been driving through it. I have driven through the western part of Canada.
Yeah, 18-wheeler, most likely.
That'll be that's a whole nother story. That don't sound right to people.
That's cool, though, that you do that. Peter has his CDL, if you don't know that.
A CDL is a commercial driver's license, so I can drive 18-wheelers.
18-wheelers.
For my job.
Thank you for my gift tonight.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, Peter gifted me with a That Don't Sound Right pint glass and filled it up.
Yeah,
with a beverage.
Filled it with my favorite Oktoberfest beer that comes from Highlands Brewery in Asheville, North Carolina.
Highlands Brewery, we're completely open to your sponsorship. If
just let us know, but maybe we'll even put a link there for free.
There's one little piece of business I want to take care of before we jump into tonight's episode, and that is King Charles III he has a coronation. Has it happened yet? I mean, the funeral's happened, but I think the coronation will be like in a month, right?
It's going to be a while, yeah.
I think we should have our own coronation.
Well, you start talking about the British royalty, and I just was wondering where exactly are you going? What kind of coronation are you talking about?
I think we should crown listener number 2, Brent, as our brand ambassador.
Ah, yes.
He pitches the show.
You told me about this story.
Better than you and I pitched the show.
Should we do a reenactment?
Yeah. So I was actually sitting right next to someone who didn't know that you and I had a podcast, which really tells a lot about how much we are.
We could use some help in the marketing department.
If anybody wants to help market this.
We're barely podcasters.
That's true. We're barely podcasters.
I think the term is rank amateur. Is that what you call it?
Absolutely. Okay. And then the person I was sitting next to saw Brent's shirt.
Yeah. And
started asking questions. He said, I would listen to that podcast just based on the title.
Oh, wow.
Which that's the second person this week I've heard say that.
Okay.
But then Brent did the promo to the show, like word for word, and was able to recommend like specific episodes.
Which ones did he recommend?
Drive it like you stole it.
Okay.
Yeah, which he said was like episode 12.
All right.
Which is about right, 12, 13.
Well, that was, okay, yeah, if I remember you be telling the story is the person amongst you did not know it was you, and Brent didn't even let on.
Yes.
He didn't even let on it was you, that the car was stolen, and it was in fact your podcast.
Yes. Yeah, oh, it was beautiful.
That's pretty classy.
So, Brent, if you accept, there's no remuneration for this position, but all the other honors and rights of the position are now yours as...
We'll bestow it.
As brand ambassador for That Don't Sound Right.
So if you're familiar, you should. If not, you should become familiar with our new website.
Yes.
ThatDon'tSoundRight.com. Leave out the apostrophe.
That Don't Sound Right. It looks good.
And at the bottom, you can scroll down, and there's some quotes from different listeners. And in fact, Brent is there. And I just simply say Brent, North Carolina, but I think I'm just going to change it from Brent from North Carolina to brand ambassador.
Brand ambassador.
Yes.
Now he may refuse this role, so
all right, we'll get that.
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
We'll get that cleared.
Does it link to the email yet? The website?
Yes, yeah. If you put on contact us, it has our email.
Oh, cool.
And if you click it, it'll take you to your email application.
Nice.
Ready to send us an email. And also, there's actually a message feature that you scroll down the bottom that says send us a message. Huh. You don't even have to use your email.
I need to explore the website more. Yeah.
I'm not sure where the message goes. It might go to my personal email. I'm not real sure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Send it to us, and we'll figure out how that works. But we're all, like we said, we're rank amateurs. We're really trying to figure this out. But it's been a lot of fun.
Well, you created the website.
I did.
And you're not a website creator.
I am now.
You are now. And a podcaster. So.
I feel, but it's a lot of work.
And a merchandiser.
I have a whole lot of compassion when I'm on a website now, and I click on something, it's a dead link, it doesn't take me to the right spot.
Right.
And I'm thinking, My whole website's like this.
Yeah. Well, eventually we'll have bios.
Yes.
And pictures.
We'll have some more pictures.
Yep.
Maybe extended show notes, and I'd like to put in some links, and also links to the topics we talk about.
Yeah.
So, for instance, we're going to be talking about a town called Point Pleasant, West Virginia tonight.
Point Pleasant.
So maybe we'll put a link into Point Pleasant.
Sounds very nice, Point Pleasant.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
But it has a somewhat of a bad past.
I'm very curious about this. You've prepped me a little bit for tonight's show, but I don't know the details because you have a personal connection to this.
Well, this is one of those things that really, when I first heard it, I said, that don't sound right. And I so wanted to Google it and fact check it. But you know what I did instead?
What's that?
I went straight to the person who was telling the story.
Oh, that's great.
That's all I did.
Talk to him.
Right. So this person, her name is Mackenzie, but she goes by Mac. Mm-hmm. She's a good friend of my daughter, Emily.
Right.
And she has family up in Indiana. And so she's done a lot of traveling between North Carolina and Indiana. And on your way to Indiana, you go through or go right by this town called Point Pleasant.
Right.
And growing up and going back and forth, she's always seen these signs about the Mothman Museum at Point Pleasant.
So she doesn't live there.
She does not live there.
She just goes back and forth.
She just goes back and forth, but was very curious about it.
Hey, so before we get into the story proper, we probably should stop because we're almost halfway through the episode and do words of wisdom.
Oh, you got some?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I think you already said them. Go to the source. You need to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Oh, well, that's a fact. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. If something's going on, go to the source.
Go to the source.
Yeah.
And maybe find 3 sources.
Yes. Multiple sources are better.
Multiple sources are better. In fact, there's more sources we can rely on this by just Googling it. Of course, you can Google it. You can go to the town of Point Pleasant and see what they're all talking about. But there's actually a movie about this.
I saw that.
And a documentary. A couple documentaries that you can watch.
Yeah.
On I think it's on Netflix. I haven't been able to find the movie streaming just yet, but I'll find it. In fact, I might. I was talking with Mac, and she said she's never seen the movie, so maybe we'll have Emily and Mac when they're all back from school, and we'll sit and watch the movie and see what it's all about.
So Mac has driven back and forth past this museum.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So she ended up stopping at it. And just
by herself.
Probably with family.
Okay, family. Right.
But now she stopped by herself.
Okay.
So the way this went down is Mac and Emily were at a concert up in Huntington, West Virginia. Okay. They went to, so they were up at this concert, and it's right around the corner from Point Pleasant. And Mac said, "Oh, we got to go back to Point Pleasant and check this out." And so she took Emily through it to the museum. They looked at the statue. And so when they got back, Emily was just explaining what they were doing. And then she explained about Point Pleasant and the Mothman. And I just said to myself, that don't sound right. What are you talking about? Right. So it's kind of a long story, but the gist of it is, Point Pleasant was originally, as most areas in the United States were lived by Native Americans, and as the settlers pushed in, there was eventually battles and wars between the settlers and the Native Americans, and during a fight, the Native Americans were losing and going to lose, and so the chief put a curse on this town. All right. Right. So if you think about this curse, a lot of people have pointed to a lot of natural disasters and attributed it to the curse. But this particular curse. But one of the things they attribute to this curse is this creature that appeared in the late 50s and early 60s. And it was a giant bat-like creature. It flew. It was black and brown. It was 6 to 7 foot tall, according to the reports. But one of the distinguishing features was it had glowing red eyes. All right. So I
People
got
have seen this, right?
People have seen this.
Okay.
There were witnesses. I don't think many of them are left.
Like Bigfoot.
Exactly. Which brings up to so I got all this information from Mac.
Right.
So she and I, we spent about 45 minutes. She's so wonderful to talk to.
Right.
She was so patient with my questions.
Right.
And she's very, very knowledgeable. But she gave me a new word.
What's that?
A cryptid.
A cryptid.
A cryptid.
What does that mean?
So a cryptid is basically a creature that is unknown.
So again, Bigfoot, Loch Ness.
So here's some examples.
Okay.
All right. We talked about some examples.
Right.
So yes. So the Flatwoods Monster in Virginia. There's okay.
Never heard that. Oh, we may have a follow-up episode. This may be the segue.
What do you got? What do you got? What is it?
Go ahead. Keep
Okay.
going.
The Chupacabra in Mexico.
Chupacabra.
All
Yes.
right? Goatman in Texas.
Okay. Not heard of it.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Yes.
The Wendigo in the plains in the Midwest.
I have not heard of the Wendigo.
Right. And Loch Ness Monster, of course.
Yeah. Nessie.
So all those are considered cryptids. And the scientific study is cryptozoology.
Really?
So if there's
cryptids.
Yeah, for cryptids.
Because
to try to figure what these creatures are all about.
I have a personal experience that we'd already talked about doing a follow-up episode on that is a cryptid.
All right.
I won't give it away yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so the other thing that follows a cryptid, yeah. The other thing that didn't sound right, did it? But it's a thing. It's a thing. But so they usually spot this creature at night, and sometimes they spotted it during a disaster.
Huh.
All right. So there is a bridge in that went over the Ohio River. It's called the Silver Bridge, actually. And it mysteriously collapsed. 50 people died.
Mm-hmm.
And reports were the Mothman was spotted in the area.
Have there been recent spottings of him?
No, there haven't.
So nothing
not
like
that I've
this. All
heard.
in the 50s.
The 50s and 60s, right?
Really?
Yeah. So it kind of disappeared. One of the things that's there in Point Pleasant is a TNT factory or a dynamite explosives factory.
Right.
There's some links, and so when we're talking, we're trying to think. Okay, what are the possibilities of this creature? Right. I mean, it could literally be a creature, a bat-like humanoid creature with glowing red eyes.
Yeah.
It could have been a man or a woman with some kind of costume that gave them the ability to fly with red eyes. It could be an alien life form.
Could be.
Also attracted by the history of war in this area. There seems to be a lot of spottings of glowing orbs in the sky.
In the same area?
In this town.
Really?
Yeah, in this town. So there's been a parallel sightings of UFOs.
Right.
And one of the interesting things that showed up were the Men in Black. There were literally no,
or in real life.
There were literally men in black suits with dark sunglasses in black.
Showed up
LTVs,
in the 50s.
Showed up looking for this thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if the Men in Black are based on that.
Well, Max seemed to indicate that these Men in Black. The movie was modeled after these guys, after the stories of these guys showing up at Point Pleasant. Maybe some other places, but definitely there were Men in Black that showed up in Point Pleasant looking for the Mothman, because there were enough reports and enough weird things going on that the Men in Black showed up. What we assume are our government, some kind of investigators.
Well, if I tend to have trouble sleeping sometimes.
Well, this is not going to help.
And so if something's not on TV, I have taken to watching like the last 3 or 4 times that's happened.
What's that?
Ancient Aliens.
Oh my word! Of all things.
That's very interesting. So, but there's not been any modern sightings.
No, not that Matt could help me. Not that Matt could.
So
recall.
what's keeping it going? Just the museum? Or
there's a museum. There's a big bronze statue. Evidently, this was deeply rooted in the history of Point Pleasant, along with other things. Some other disasters, some chemical spills that that mysteriously happened. Some mysterious things with a TNT factory.
But why do people still talk about him now if they hadn't seen him in 50 years?
It must be this museum.
Wow.
It must be this museum, and also just the study of cryptids, right?
Right.
So this has been going on, right? So you got cryptozoology that's also still asking the questions. There's still people curious about what was this Mothman.
Right.
I mean, there were dozens and dozens of witnesses. All right, not hundreds of witnesses, probably 3 to 4 dozen witnesses that would attest to this, that would that would promise that they were telling the truth.
Well, I used to, as a kid, I was fascinated by Loch Ness. Loch Ness Monster. Yeah. I mean, I would read books and I would study about it, and I would thought that one day I would be the one that discovered Nessie.
So did you not pursue the field of cryptozoology in your studies?
I did not pursue the field of cryptozoology,
right.
but now that I know that it exists.
So I was looking it up. So the Mothman Prophecies, which is a movie with Richard Gere.
Yeah, I knew Richard Gere was in the movie. Yeah.
So it is on Amazon Prime.
Really?
Yeah, you can rent it for Amazon Prime.
I got to tell you, you might not know this about me yet, but I can't watch a scary movie.
Oh yeah. Well, how was scary? Is Jurassic Park scary?
No. Okay. Like a horror movie.
Oh, right.
I can't watch horror movies.
No, I can't really either.
Yeah. I have a hard time. Like, I don't even like watching the commercials.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So maybe I can get by with Mothman.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if this is scary or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, scary I can handle, but like gory scary I can't handle. Like, I can't even, like, in some of the ones, like, some of those things just freak me out. I can't watch them.
Right. No, I've seen a couple of horror movies that were way too disturbing.
Right.
Way too disturbing. And, sometimes it's the gore. It's not really the gore. It's just, we don't have to talk about it. It's kind of late right now, and we need to sleep.
Be able to walk out to the car. Well, I think, you got any more details on the Mothman?
No, just that there's a museum, and actually there is a festival.
A Mothman festival.
There is a Mothman
50 years later, there's a Mothman festival.
There is.
You would think that you wouldn't have a festival about something like that. That you wouldn't want to do anything that would bring attention, that would make the Mothman want to come around.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. It's one thing to call on the Mothman to return.
You don't want the Mothman showing up at your festival.
That's right.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. If y'all want more, if you have a story about the Mothman, be sure to go to the website, or if you've had an encounter, drop us a line.
Yeah, or if you had any other stories of cryptids.
Oh yeah, I've got a great cryptid story.
You have one, and I actually read it was a memoir of Teddy Roosevelt, and he actually told of a spotting of a cryptid.
Really?
In the Midwest, in South Dakota.
Huh.
And the story, I read it.
Right.
And it was like a horror story. I mean, it was very, very haunting. It was like the spotting of the doodle bug. Just kind of was described.
Haunting. Well, I think, believe it or not, you've come to another episode of That Don't Sound Right.
That don't sound right, but this was good to be back.
Yeah.
Before we close, I'd like to recognize a couple people.
Absolutely.
So, you first want to recognize again Cody from the West Salem Public House.
Thank you.
Again, hope you found this interesting. Maybe you have some more information for us.
Yeah.
And we want to also recognize our chief audio engineer and our studio musician, Cecil.
Oh, that's
Thank
right.
you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, that's 53 episodes of listening to our episode,
right,
an extra point, and then having to upload it. And
GarageBand it.
That's right.
I got some criticism recently on my musicianship, but we'll talk about that in
Well, maybe
episode.
we'll have to make a change there.
That's right.
Maybe we'll be thinking different people. Our web practitioner, that's Peter. We can go ahead and give him a shout out.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, no problem. And then our logo design, Emily Bielman. Yeah, give thanks to Emily Bielman for our logo design.
And as always, thank listener number 1.
Yes, he's the one who really kicked us off.
That's right.
He kind of cornered us at a picnic and said, I'd listen to that.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah, and he still is.
Ever since.
He still is.
Well, y'all have a great week, and keep talking.
And stay curious.